Awesome, great, glorious day it is. This is the day the Lord has made, and indeed we shall rejoice and be glad in it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Umubanga podcast, where we aim to inform, transform, as well as inspire. Our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, is a corporate trainer and coach specializing in strategy, peak performance, and capacity building. He works with individuals and organizations to design growth strategies, strengthen systems, and achieve sustainable impact. Our guest is passionate about empowering people to unlock their potential and guiding institutions to deliver measurable results through structured initiative. Leveraging his expertise in strategic planning and personal development, our guest provides the training and coaching necessary to encourage personal and organizational growth. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on the Umubanga podcast, put your virtual hands together for the one and only Mudson andu. Sir, welcome.
Thank you so much, Umubanga. That was like a serious, elaborate introduction. Yeah.
How does it make you feel having this read to you?
Sometimes you start thinking, is that me they're talking about?
Yeah.
Or, sometimes, you live life with your own impression about yourself. And then you go out there, you start hearing what other people are saying about you, especially when it's good. You go like, okay, maybe I didn't think of myself that high. So it becomes more of a confirmation and approval of say, okay, I must be doing something right.
So, do you ever get to a place where like imposter syndrome like kicks in, where somebody like, same way I've read this, like you're just like, yeah, that's not me?
A lot of times, and imposter syndrome comes usually when you've been given a job that you've never done before, and it's quite big, and everybody says, okay, fine, no, we have Mudson andu is going to do it. Yeah. You get scared because they speak to you at that level. You ask yourself, what if I don't deliver to that point? Because everybody now starts expecting that you're going to deliver to a certain level. So it really becomes kind of difficult. Also because generally myself, I grew up with, and something I'm still struggling with, are issues of shyness. And I can tell you that I grew up with a very low self-esteem. I had to fight it at a certain point. So it always makes an appearance once in a while. Yeah.
Actually, going back to you growing up, like, look, did you always see yourself as a coach or what you're doing now? Like, growing up, how was it like for you?
I never saw myself as a coach. I maybe saw myself as a teacher, not a trainer. As a teacher, as in the conventional teacher. I thought I would be a secondary school teacher. I saw myself in that direction. Also, I saw myself becoming a Catholic priest. Yeah, I grew up as an altar boy in the Catholic Church. So I thought, okay, cool. I think I can become a Catholic priest, which I tried. I didn't really go for priesthood. I went for brotherhood. I don't know if you know about the brotherhood part, the Catholic brother. Yes. I tried. I didn't finish. I ran away. But I really never saw myself as a coach, not because I couldn't see myself as a coach, but maybe because I didn't even know the industry exists. Yeah. I had no idea there's such an industry called coaching. Yeah. And I had no idea there's such an industry called trainer, apart from the trainer we had for sports, that kind of thing. Yes, I didn't know that there's anything else apart from a teacher, so never really saw it coming.
Okay, so in terms of your upbringing and background, like just walk us through for us to perfectly understand who you are, because I feel like we are all products of our environment.
Yeah.
So walk us through your family life, your journey, and education and all.
Oh, great. I was born in Mazabuka.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Mazabuka. Did my school grade 1 to 12 in Mazabuka. I come from quite a large family. Some have passed though. I come from a family of 11.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 11. Me being like, number 7 or something like that. Yeah, a number of them have passed. We have few now remaining. So grew up in Mazabuka, started school there, completed school at St. Edmund Secondary School in Mazabuka some years back. Immediately I went to Ndola for my first college.
Yep.
So I did my college in Ndola. And I think that was how I left Mazabuka, really. The moment I went to college, I would just come for holidays. Some I would not come. Immediately after college, I started going around the country for work. Yep. Yeah, so I found myself in Livingstone, Kazungula, and Sesheke for work. And then later on, found myself back in school in Rwansha. Then went back to Livingstone. So I would say my young years were in Mazabuka, but my adult years were in Livingstone. So I know Mazabuka people are not like this. I feel more of a Livingstonian than I do Mazabuka. Why? Because when I go to Mazabuka right now, most of my friends have moved, but Livingstone, they are still there because I was an adult there and they're adults and they're still there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now look, for most of us who, I think the first time I met you
Yes.
was, I think it was last year.
Yes.
Rachel Munkombwe said that was having a boys' conference.
Yes.
And that was the first interaction, and I heard you speak, and so on my end, it's just like, this is a coach, a quote-unquote motivational speaker.
Yes.
That's the general term we have, but thinking through now, like through this journey, you've spoken of you living in different spaces for work and how you envision yourself being a teacher. Did you ever see yourself that, at what point did you then realize that, okay, I think coaching is, one thing which I can do, like?
Oh, great. Like I said, coaching came a little bit later on in life, but the speaking and training, I think I was around grade 11 when I joined a group called Youth Alive Zambia.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they still exist up to now and still quite active, especially in Lusaka. I don't know anywhere else. So I joined a group called Youth Alive Zambia. And remember, I was this shy young man, this shy boy. Yeah, so we would sit in places like where they're holding workshops, seminars, and these guys would be talking. Have you ever seen somebody do something, then something in you just says, I can do that.
Yeah.
It just clicks in your head like, I think that's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, so that was around grade 11 and it ended there until later on when I completed school. I said, let me try this. Let me try this out. And tried it out through Youth Alive, and that's how I was discovered that I could speak, that I could train, that I could facilitate. And then through Youth Alive, I was trained on how to do public speaking, how to do trainings and the like. And that's how everything, just kicked in and found myself into what I'm doing now.
Okay. So looking back and you saying that you saw somebody who's been like your biggest influence, who was your biggest influence going into this space?
Who was my biggest influence getting into the speaking space? It's quite a concoction of a number of people, not one per se. From Youth Alive itself, I'm going to mention because, every time I meet him, he's not even in the speaking industry, by the way. He's got into something else. There's a man called Bonaventure Mutale. I saw Bonaventure speaking. He should be working for one of the government ministries now. I saw Bonaventure speaking, and I think he's the one who just kicked something in me. I said, I want to speak like Bonaventure, and I thank God for it because I went to speak to him, and he showed me the roadmap to say, this is the roadmap that you go to. Then later on, I watched a video of Les Brown.
Okay.
And by the way, at that time, again, I didn't know there's an industry called motivational speakers. So I watched a video of Les Brown, and he was doing some and you remember that time we used to watch, what do you call them, VHS?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So somebody gave me that video. I went home, put it in my player and the like at home, put it there, and this guy could speak. So I asked around, I said, who's this guy? He said, no, this is Les Brown. I said, he's what? He said, he's a motivational speaker. I said, what is a motivational speaker? So I was told, no, these are the guys who stand in front of people, motivate them, inspire them. I said, okay, that's what I'm going to become.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so internationally, Les Brown. Locally, the likes of Bonaventure Mtali. But then I started researching the industry.
Okay.
Yeah, so in researching the industry, I saw people like Shimamba Kanyama doing the same thing. And then I saw people like Galamukani the late doing the same thing, connected to Galamukani. Through the connections to Galamukani, started working together here and there. And the industry opened up. And that's how it got to this.
Yeah. Okay. So in most of your spaces, like your speaking engagements and all, like you talk about unlocking potential and all that. But what does that actually look like in your own life, like unlocking that potential? Like,
wow, interesting question. First of all, what is to unlock potential? To unlock potential means you have something in you that you can do, you are sure you can do. That's called potential. No wonder it's called potential energy in science. Yeah, but then there are these blocks that are in front of you that make it not possible to implement it and the like. So those are the things that need to be unlocked. For instance, the first thing that I had to unlock for me was deal with my low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Anybody, if you ask any of my friends who know me from primary school, from secondary school, will tell you that I was not this that I am now. Actually, some of them are surprised when they see me now. They go like, what? Yeah. Okay, so the first thing I had to deal with was deal with the low self-esteem. I don't know where it came from, really. I can't point at anything. So that's the first thing that I had to deal with. And I had a lot of help from some people. So even for other people, you find maybe the first thing that they have to deal with is just this lack of self-belief. You know you can do it, but there's this impression to think there's this other people who are chosen for it and not you. Yes. So that's the first barrier. Okay. The second barrier that I had to break was, you look at people speaking and they are good. So good that you start asking yourself, can I speak like that?
Yeah.
Can I really speak like that? So when you are asked to speak, you're not thinking that I can speak. You're thinking, what if I don't do it like that person? Yeah. That's another thing that I had to break. So you see, as you are breaking these barriers, what are you doing? You're unlocking your potential. Your potential is opening up and you're seeing better and bigger opportunities and greater things happening.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, when we talk of like belief or principle, what are some of the beliefs and principles that guide you the way you think and work? Because if, like, for any person who follows you, like on your social media, like you're outspoken, like you're one person who, like, you go out there, like you're in a shop, you're able to pick up certain things, like even from a cashier or even just a security guard, how their posture and all those things. Like, so what are some of your guiding principles?
Wow, you're right. Most of my posts and most of my talks come from everyday stories.
Yeah.
There are stories out there.
Yeah.
Life itself is a movie. You don't even need to watch a movie that they made. Life itself is a movie, and there's a lot of stories out there. So one of my principles, or one of my characteristics, or I don't know which way to put, but one of the things that I do is I try to learn from everybody every day. Yeah, just even as I was driving here, something happened on the way, I learned a lesson. Yep. Okay, I was doing this and that during the day, I learned a lesson. So I love to learn from a lot of people. And because I need to learn from a lot of people, one of my philosophies is to understand that difference does not mean better or not better. We are just different. Okay. Yeah, so I don't stick to certain beliefs and say life must be like this, okay? I understand we are very different, and because I understand we are very different, I learn from a number of people, and I delve into exactly how do they think, why are they doing what they are doing like this, okay, well, what's the motivation, where is this coming from, and all that helps me gather up data that I utilize for coaching, for speaking, and for training, and also for my personal life. Yep. Yes, for instance, if somebody cuts me off in front of the car, okay, I'm driving and somebody cuts me off, and I could say, why are you cutting me off? But then someone in my mind would be like, maybe the guy is not okay. maybe the guy is dealing with something. I don't want to be involved in what they're dealing with. Okay, so let me just leave them. And then I go ahead. My day is not messed up.
Yeah.
But I can decide that my day is going to be messed up. But no, why are you cutting me? Why are you driving like that? I'm not going to go into that. Yes.
Okay, interesting. Now, do you remember a time when you struggled with your own confidence and or performance, and how did you walk through that?
There's been a number of them, and I think one of them was my first consultancy project. Yeah, one of them was my first consultancy project. I had a consultancy project with a bank, and then now I have the qualifications. Then I was just a mechanic, coming from Nortec, having done my heavy equipment repair. So I'm a heavy-duty mechanic. I've never worked in management. The only management I've read was a subject at school, and I've never been in management. And you are given a consultancy project to coach managers in peak performance. And these people are managing banks. And I'm talking about branch managers for banks. Yeah, and you're given to coach them. And I was given that job not because they wanted me, but because they wanted somebody else who was not available. Then they wanted, that person recommended another one who also was not available. Then they recommended me. So I was like the third recommendation. Now, imagine the people there are waiting for this guy. He's not there. Then another guy is not there. And then Mudson appears. They have never heard of Mudson. They don't know him. He has no CV to show for it. He has no profile. And then you appear. Imagine how they look at you. That was tough. And it was a bank. It was a bank, by the way. So I was actually flown from Livingstone to Ndola. Flown from Livingstone to Ndola, driven with these car hire companies, driven to the venue. They are gathered, and you arrive. They go like, so you're the one? Oh, okay. You're the one who's coming to train us. I almost said, and I know I'm just passing through. And they're like, have you done this before? How many people have you coached? 0. Yeah, so it was really tough. Yeah. It was really, really tough. It was something that I thought, I wanted to give up on that particular day. I say, I can't do this, let me go back. But now you start thinking, these people have flown you. Like, you didn't even get on a bus. Yeah. They fly you from Livingstone all the way to Ndola. They drive you to the venue, and you tell them you can't do it. Yeah. I say, I'm going to do it. Let me just do it. So what I did was I decided I will not approach it from a professional technical end because that was not going to work. So I said, I'm going to approach it from like I do my social media. Yeah. Everyday stories, everyday analogies, things they could relate with as human beings. Yeah. When I catch that, then now we can go technical. And I did that. So I spoke for like maybe 20 minutes. And because I was jittery, I asked can we go for a break? And during break time, I went to look at my phone. And the guy who recommended me sent a message. I'm speaking. He says, whatever you are doing is working. Continue. So it's like I'm speaking to them. They are sending feedback to the guy who recommended me. And then he says, I don't know what you're doing. Whatever you're doing is working. Continue. Hey, now I came back. Like, coming back now, I'm confident. Yeah. And that's it. Luckily, they didn't ask me what my qualification was because, hey, it passed like that. And I didn't have the qualifications then.
Yeah. So we spoke in your bio, we spoke about the fact that you help organizations strategize.
Yes.
And I think hearing you speak, you saying using day-to-day stories and like how do you make sure that it's not just corporate jargon but something real that people can connect with in making sure that organization or structures are like proper and strategies proper and implementable?
You see, having worked with a number of organizations now, especially when it comes to strategy review and strategy alignment, which is what I do a lot, review and alignment. I also do strategic planning with some organizations, but I do more of review and alignment. one thing I've discovered is that a lot of organizations have plans. They don't have strategies.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's very sad that you ask an everyday manager, an everyday professional what strategy is, they will explain to you what a plan is. Okay. And these are good plans, by the way. Nothing bad about it. These are very good plans. These are tangible plans, but they have no strategy in the plan. And a number of them will come out from a 5 days workshop and they have come up with what they call a strategic plan, when what they have really come up with is a 5-year plan without strategy in it.
I'm reminded of the many strategic plans the government always...
Hey, let's not even get there. Let's not even get to those now who do it because they need to tick a box that they have a strategic plan. They won't even implement it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the reasons being the number of controls and the like in the government. It's really difficult to implement a strategy because you are rarely independent. I'm not going to get into those details. Yeah. But really, so a number of organizations don't have strategies. So one of the big things I do is to explain to them in very simple terms, using everyday stories, what a strategy is. Then when they catch it, they realize that a strategy actually is a 1-page document. Okay. It's a 1-page document. Then when you have a strategy, it's easy now to have a plan. That's why you go to most organizations, and ask, what is your strategy? Most employees don't know it. Not because they don't want to know it, but because it doesn't exist. They will say, let me look at the strategic plan and the like. So I think that the first thing I do is explain really what strategy is, so that people can understand what strategy is, and then now see how we can incorporate that strategy into their systems, their structures and the like, and be able to come up with a proper plan that now they can actually implement. Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. So can you share some of the, like a team or an organization you worked with and you did the training and before you know it, like things turned around and yeah.
I worked with one company and it was quite interesting because they really went on steroids after the workshop.
They built muscles.
Yeah, they went on steroids after the workshop. We were doing strategy alignment and in the strategy alignment, what we were talking about was everything you do as an organization must be aligned with your strategy. Yeah, because it's your strategy that gives you competitive advantage. Without strategy, you have no competitive advantage. Competitive advantage gives you the returns that you want, which gives you the profit and the like. So we worked with this organization, which was doing things haphazardly. Like, and by haphazardly, I mean simple things like, Umubanga, if you are going to put a black carpet, why?
Yeah.
Simple things like that. Why a black carpet? You don't just go to town and say, no, we need to put carpets in the offices. I think that black one. No. Strategy says, no, wait. Why the black carpet? What are you trying to communicate? Yeah. What message does it send? What emotions does it bring out in people? Yeah. Okay, because every color brings out a certain emotion in people. Sure. What temperature in the environment does it create? You get the point? Yeah. So when I started talking about simple things like the colors of the walls, okay, simple things like the quality of the lighting. Are you just going to buy bulbs and put them there? Or you're going to say, we need this color of lighting, this watts, I don't know how they measure the intensity of lighting. Mm-hmm. So when we were talking about that, the guys were like, okay, we never thought of it like that. They went back, invited some creative, now it goes into the creative guys. Yes. Yes, and these internal designers, the interior designers, and they made sure everything they did was in line with what they wanted to achieve. Yep. They saw a change in their business within a short time because they did things like, okay, how should the shop smell? Yep. Okay? Just imagine. Yeah. Now, most of the shops you go to, if you ask them, this shop has this aroma, they have no idea why it has that aroma. It's just there. But these guys said, we're going to put lavender. Why? Because lavender has this effect on people. So because of this effect on people will be compelled to buy. You see what strategy does? Yeah. Then you are very deliberate. And when we did that, they deliberately engaged certain things in the organization. And within 6 months, somebody said, what spirit did you bring here? I said, no, we just aligned strategy. It's the same thing with individuals. Okay, it's the same thing with I ask individuals, I say, look, the time you wake up, do you just wake up? Or is it strategic? Because if there's certain things you need to achieve, it must align with the time you wake up, the time you sleep, the way you are going to dress. Okay? If on that particular day, do you just pick and say, I'm going to wear this and this and this? Women are a little bit better in that particular day. Women don't just pick something from. When they put on something, it has a meaning and they like. So that is strategy. Yes.
Interesting. So, like, I know you've interacted with different organizations. Some are big, some are small.
Yes.
And probably there are some organizations where you went in and you're just like, yo, I need to pull up my socks. Like, I need to level up and just implement some of these things in my life. Like, what are some of the lessons you've been able to pick out from which you've been able to also implement in your life from some of the organizations you've dealt with?
A number of them. I worked with an organization not too long ago that has a very, very interesting, let's call it strategy, very, very interesting. Now, they have what they call, I've forgotten the name, but it has something to do with initiatives, okay? It has something to do with initiatives where, you know, many times in organizations, employees complain that we are not involved.
Yeah.
And many times employees think they have good ideas, but nobody's listening to them. This organization has a way in which every employee can suggest an initiative, okay, and work on, and they are supported to work on that initiative as long as it helps the company.
Yep.
And this employee is held accountable for what they suggested because they will have support. One thing I discovered is that good ideas were coming from as low as a general worker, a driver, a security guy. They're coming up with good ideas because they are involved. So, you know, many times when we think of strategy, we think it's for the top people. They're the ones, which is how strategy really is. But this organization decided, no, we're going to take it down and make sure everybody contributes and everybody brings out initiatives. The good initiatives will support them and let people implement. I think for me, that was a big plus. And okay, sorry to say, but I stole the idea. And now I go to other organizations and teach it. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, look, we often hear of peak performance in books and seminars, but what does it actually look like in everyday life? Like, yeah, like, I think peak performance is like one of those words like we hear, like thrown around, like, yeah.
Peak performance. What is a peak? The peak is like if you do a triangle, it's right on top.
Yeah.
If it's a mountain, for instance, we're talking about the top. So peak performance, in short, is performing towards the peak. Now, a lot of people get it wrong because they think it's performing at the peak. Okay. I want you to catch that difference. Okay, it's not performing at the peak because it's difficult to get there. It's difficult to stay there. It's not everybody who can be there. But it's performing towards the peak. Where if your performance today was at level, how do they measure the height of a mountain? Attitude. Yeah. So if your performance was at this attitude, the next day it should improve to a higher altitude. The next time it should improve to a higher altitude. The next to a higher altitude. You get the point? Yes. So at the end of the day, you are performing towards the top. That's peak performance. A number of people get so comfortable performing at a certain level because they can get away with it. That is not peak performance. Okay, that's now laissez-faire kind of performance. So for me, peak performance is where every day you tell yourself, how can we do better? How can I do better? How can I improve myself? How can I, for every workshop, every seminar, every training that we do, we sit down with the team and say, this is what we did, guys. How can we do better in the next one? That's peak performance. Yeah. Performing towards the peak.
Awesome. I know this is free information for most entrepreneurs and all, but
Yes.
what are some of the habits which you keep to make sure that you are at 100% and you still show up to so that you move on to the next level? Because look, the world has many troubles. As Jesus says that in this world you have many troubles, but take heed, I have overcome them. There are instances when you feel discouraged, you just show up for the sake of showing up. And others even have a tendency of showing up and just give their bare minimum when they're supposed to be at 100%, because the other people don't know what you're going through. And they didn't come for them to receive 30% of your input. Like you need to give 100%. But what are some of the habits that you've kept to make sure that you are 100% even when you show up, but internally you are discouraged?
Okay. First of all, I'll talk about a personal level and anybody else.
Yeah.
You need to get to a point, first of all, that you accept you may not always be at 100%. You may not always be. And actually, the 100% times, maybe even the less times than the other percentage times. So you need to accept, because many times we beat ourselves up thinking we are not doing very good because we have set too high standards that instead of motivating us, end up discouraging us. Okay, so you first of all need to accept that you may not always be at 100%. Okay, the number two, you need to ask yourself, what motivates me to do this job? What motivates me to do this particular thing that I'm doing? Without motivation, you will easily give up. Okay, you will easily give up. So you need to ask yourself, what is my personal motivation in this? And you must have this personal motivation in you. When we are doing motivational seminars, purely motivational seminars, we call them, what is your hidden agenda?
Yeah.
Now, hidden agenda does not mean evil agenda. It does not mean bad agenda. It means hidden. As in, why am I doing this? Okay, why am I doing this? So, when you have found your personal inner motivation, nothing out there will stop you. Okay, that's number two. Number three is you to tell yourself on every day basis, how can I do better than I did yesterday? Okay, how can I do better than I did yesterday? The next thing then is surround yourself with people who have positive energy. Very, very important. Okay, avoid negative energy. As much as you can, avoid negative energy. So surround yourself with people who have positive energy, people who inspire you by the way they do what they are doing. You know, energy is contagious. So if you surround yourself with people with positive energy, you start doing positive things and start performing at the top. The next thing that is very, very important is take a break. Take a break. You know,
Taking breaks, like, is that your chani? Yeah.
Take a break. There is probably digress a little. You know, there's a lot of deaths now associated to men where they just collapse, and it's young men in between their age 30 to 45.
Yep.
Why? Because as men, we think we are just supposed to be running. Every day we wake up and run. No, you need rest. Sometimes just sleep. The whole day. What are you doing today? I'm sleeping. Because when you do that, you recharge for the next day. And you get yourself ready for the next implementation. You get yourself ready to do the next thing. Okay? Maybe the last thing that I can say is have fun. Yeah, have fun. Have fun at work. Have fun with your family. And take yourself out. You know, I personally, you will find me at probably 4 concerts in a year. These are sets. I'm going for this concert, and you will find me there. Don't be surprised if you find me there. Yeah. If there's a concert, and I love music and I love loud music, when you find me there, I'm recharging. And they are budgeted for. It's not a waste of money. I am going. Because I want to recharge so that when I go for work, when I do my consultancy, when I do my speaking, I'm recharged.
Interesting take. And I think I saw you wrote a piece on the Danica Music Festival.
Yes.
Which just happened. Interesting. You talk of strengthening systems as well as people, but why do you believe both are necessary for real impact?
The easiest way to progress is to have a system for progress. Okay? If you do things randomly, you will find yourself anywhere. If you are going to progress as an organization and as an individual, you need systems, because then systems make it easy for you to implement and to do things. A number of businesses are struggling because they don't have systems. Let me give an example. You buy something from a supermarket with a system, and maybe what you bought, maybe you didn't check the expiry date. You go and check it from home. You go like, hey, this thing is expired. So you go back to the supermarket. A supermarket with a system will simply say, oh, you bought this from here. It's expired. Where is the receipt? The receipt proves you bought it. Oh, come here. Return it. Sign here. Do you want us to give you back cash? Or do you want to get another one which is not expired? Or do you want to pick something else? I think let me just pick something else. Okay, fine. You can go ahead and pick something else. When you have picked, come over here so that we exchange this thing and the like. Thank you very much, sir. You go in, you pick something, you come. It's done. Yeah. Go to one which has no system. I bought this thing and it's expired. What time did you buy it? Who was the salesperson? Patrick, manager. Yeah, are you getting the point? It's clear. So, which one of the two places does a customer walk out satisfied? The first instance. And a satisfied customer is going to come back. Yeah. A customer who's not satisfied will tell 7 other people not to come because they will go complain. That's the power of systems. Okay. The power of systems, Foot, is, it doesn't matter who is at work. I'm still on organizational level. It doesn't matter who's at work. If they have a system, anybody can do the job. When you don't have a system, you start saying, the one who does this is off today. You get the point? Yeah. So organizations must translate their strategy into systems. Now, when you translate your strategy into a system, it becomes easy to achieve the strategy because the people doing the implementation don't even have to think about strategy every day. They just know we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things. When they do those, they are achieving the strategy. Now, at individual level, it's the same thing. What are your systems? Okay? What are your daily systems? Remember, I talked about when you wake up, what's the first thing that you do? You don't just haphazardly and randomly do anything. Okay? What do you do when you wake up? What is the next thing you do when you wake up? Okay? What do you do before you sleep? What do you do on everyday basis? How many books do you read for this period of time? And when you have all those systems and routines and habits, you put them together, you guarantee progress. Okay. Yes.
So for people who have like systems in place and sometimes progress feels slow, like how do we then keep them inspired? Because there's this saying, and I know like a lot of people battle with it, like if you follow through the right procedure and channels, like your progress feels slow. Like, but how do we keep that going? Like,
and clean money is hard.
Yes.
That's a statement I've made a number of times. Yeah. First of all, sustainable progress is slow. Mushroom grows overnight and disappears just the same. You get the point?
Yep.
Yeah. But a tree that will last years does not grow overnight. So you need to understand that sustainable growth that can actually stay for a long period of time will be slow. So when you understand that, then you won't get discouraged, because most of the people who get it fast, and I didn't say all the people, I said most of the people who get it fast, it becomes difficult for them to sustain what they got. It becomes difficult, okay, because it was too fast. So how do you stay motivated even when it seems slow? I love one thing that we talk about from our Christian end, and it says count your blessings. Yeah. Count your blessings. So you need to measure your progress. Okay, have a dashboard where you measure your progress. So that if you were at 1, a month later you are at 2, a month later you are at 3, you are progressing. Okay, and that should show you that whatever it is that you are doing is not stagnant in one place, you are actually moving. Okay, and it's important as you are doing that to not compare yourself with other people who seem to be progressing faster and quicker, because really you don't know their story. Yes, we have different stories, we have different environments, we have different things where we come from that we cannot all achieve at the same pace. Others are highly connected. Others come from parents who are highly connected. For you, you need to go and knock on a door to get it opened. For somebody else, a phone call goes there before they arrive. And the secretary knows, oh, Umubanga is coming because the phone. So if you're going to compare yourself with people who seem to be moving faster, when you don't know how they are moving faster, you will discourage yourself, because you are competing with something that you are not sure of the actual inputs. You are just comparing, you're just competing with the outcomes of that particular situation.
Interesting. So in terms of on your personal end, like where you implemented strategy and you had a failure or a setback, how then did you manage to maneuver around and just get back? Because I know your industry it's not so big in Zambia, but and it's like monopolized by many people. And I know sometimes you'd like to certain strategic plans don't work because of how the system is. It's rigged. Sometimes it's corruption which you are faced with. Somebody wants a cut in order for you to come on board and stuff like that.
It's quite a hard industry, because apart from it being based on how good a job can you do, it's also based on who is your connection, who do you know, and also based on how big your brand is. And sometimes even the payment does not depend on the quality of the job you're doing, but the size of the brand that you have. So how have I kept myself motivated and inspired despite that? I think for me, I've set certain personal targets that if I achieve my personal targets, I really don't mind what other people are achieving, which could be better and bigger than me, and the like. So I've set myself, for instance, if I tell myself every month I need to do not less than 4 trainings. Okay? So my standard, for instance, say 4 trainings per month, paying this amount of money. Now, I'm not going to go out there and look at a guy who does 4 trainings in 1 week. I will just discourage myself, because there's a guy who will do the 4 in 1 week. And for me, I need a month. So I've set my personal targets and said, these are my targets. This is what I'm going to do. And then I get that done and I'm fine. The other thing that I've done to keep myself inspired and motivated is also to learn to accept that we can't all play in the Premier League. Okay. No, we can't. Okay, a guy playing for my team, Nkana, okay, is as successful a soccer player as a guy playing for Chelsea. Yeah. You can't play the numbers. We can't all play for Chelsea. But he's a successful guy. The guy is taking care of his family. The guy is driving a Mark X. He has built a house in Ghanaton. You get the point. But if he's going to sit and say, hey, I wish I was playing for Chelsea, he's going to feel very unsuccessful. So you need to understand that even in this industry, there are those layers and the like. So you tell yourself, okay, I may not be playing at that league, but if I can play at this level and I'm able to succeed and I'm able to survive and the like, then I'm fine. What usually discourages us is thinking all of us must play in the big league. No, we can't. We can't.
Interesting. So how do you personally handle moments of doubt?
Sometimes I give up.
Just give up.
Yeah, sometimes I give up. Sometimes I just say, okay, this is not working. I'm gonna leave it, and there's been a number of such times. Yeah, there's been a number of such times, and it's okay. I want to say it's okay to give up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's okay. It's not okay to continue giving up for the rest of your life, but it's okay to give up. So sometimes I just say, okay, fine, this is not working. Let me just give up and move on. And because of that, I've learned how to move on very fast. Yeah, I've learned how to move on from life very, very, very fast, and so I don't really get hate, because there are certain people who will ask you for a quotation, and you give them a quotation, and they move on. So if you are going to be there thinking, I've given out 16 quotations and nobody's calling me, you'll be frustrated. That's why if you ask me for a quotation again, I'm not going to say, last time you asked me for a quotation, I'll give you another quotation. I'll give you another one. Now I'm bringing up another point. Because for instance, there's a client I worked with who asked me for quotations 15 times.
Oh, wow.
And never gave me a job. 15 times and never gave me a job. Now, one of my colleagues said, why do we keep giving these guys a quotation? I said, because they have asked. We will give them. The 16th time they asked, still never gave us a job. But here's what happened. The guy they gave the job never showed up. The guy never showed up. So again, we were not the first. Yes. But here's a good thing that happened. Mm-hmm. The guy who never showed up had charged more than we would charge. Yeah. And they had already budgeted for that amount. So when they said, Mudson and your team, can you come and do the job? Guess how much they paid? What they would have paid that one. And I was like, this is how much you pay? Now, it did two things. One, it showed them what we can do, and they started giving us jobs. Yeah. Number two, it gave me an insight into, what? These people can charge this amount of money. Why do I? Maybe that's why they don't even give me a job, because they're like, this guy is not serious. What type of quotation? Sometimes you push in a quotation, they go like, nah.
Your price point.
Nah. So that was a learning point. But it took how many times? 15 to 16 times to get to that point. Never give up. As long as you have breath, as long as you have life, as long as you're still there, never give up. I think if you remember, the other time I posted something on my social media, I said, if you put an advert, and the customer asks, okay, put an advert and you put a price. Yeah. Okay, we are selling these dresses and the like, they are going at 350 kwacha. It's written on the advert. Then a customer comes and says, how much are the dresses? Tell them again. Yeah. Don't go like, no, it's on the advert. No, just tell them. You don't lose anything to just say 350 kwacha.
We even post next to say, you Zambians don't like to read.
Exactly. You can't say that to a customer.
Yeah.
You can't say that to a client, because your job is not to educate the clients. Your job is to sell to them, to get their money. Yeah. So if to get their money, you have to tell them again, then they will give you the money. So don't give up, don't quit. So yes, sometimes I say, okay, fine, this is not working, but you know what? I bounce back quickly. Mm-hmm. Yes, I quickly bounce back and say, okay, fine, that didn't work. And that's why I've lasted this long in the industry, because there are times when, luckily, maybe having a full-time job at the point would be an advantage. But there are times when you go a whole period of time and there's no job that is coming. Yep. And you just say, I'm getting out of this industry. Yeah, but then another job comes, you go like, okay, so things are still happening. Yep. And that's why I've lasted long in the industry, because I've told myself, I ain't giving up. I'm going to grow in this industry and I'll do what I have to do. And I think when we were just coming in, I told you, that's one of the reasons I came to Lusaka now. This is the first time I'm staying in Lusaka. I would come for jobs here and there, but this is like the first time I'm still learning Lusaka. But I reached a point where I said, I think let me go to Zambia. Because Zambia is in Lusaka. Yeah.
Awesome. So looking now ahead, like what's exciting now in terms of the future and how you look at leadership and work? Like what's exciting you right now?
My biggest excitement is strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a passion for evangelism in strategy, in all circles. Why? Because I've realized in progress, nothing beats strategy. Yes. Now, hard work is okay. All the other things you can do are okay. But without strategy, really, you are not going anywhere. And a number of people are failing, not because they are not good enough, not because they are not working hard, but mostly because they don't have a strategy or they don't have a proper strategy. So what I want to do, my campaign and my mission for now, is to ensure everybody becomes a strategist for themselves. If they can't do it for a business or where they work, at least for themselves, let them become a strategist. And I'm telling you, when you have a proper strategy, you stop complaining about what is happening around you. You stop complaining. Many times we complain about this and that because ourselves, we don't know what we're doing. We don't have a strategy for ourselves. So we start complaining. But when you have a strategy, you take advantage and use what is around and say, okay, I'm going to take this and this and this and this, put it together and it will work for me in this particular direction. So that is my biggest excitement at the moment. Yes.
Awesome. So looking ahead now, like in terms of work, like things are changing. There's AI now coming in. Like, how does that look like for you, and especially your industry?
Wow.
You'd be like, hey, chat, motivate me.
Yeah, first of all, we cannot run away from the fact that AI is taking over. Yeah, and like I always say, AI will not take over jobs. AI will take over jobs of people who don't use AI.
Okay.
Yeah, you get the point?
Yeah.
When the tractor came in and we were farming using our hands, it didn't take over farming. It took over from the people who couldn't use the tractor. So others just moved and said, oh, from this, let me move to this. So AI will not take over jobs. It will take over the jobs of people who don't use AI. So with the coming of AI, first of all, in any industry, even ours, it makes your job a little more, I don't know if that's a correct English, it makes your job easier.
Yes.
Yeah, in terms of research, in terms of structuring, there's certain creativity that you have to sit and become creative. But with AI, it can do that creativity for you. Just feed it. I'm going to be speaking to a bank. This bank is struggling with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, and they want to expand to rural areas. Okay, so they are looking at how to expand to rural areas. So what are the 5 things you think I should talk about? Okay, now here's the thing. One thing AI will not do is the human side. It can't tell stories like a human being would. So for our industry, which in a way is a storytelling industry, I say you can go to AI and say, I'm going to read and get motivated. But there's something about somebody standing in front of you and speaking and training you and bringing out the human side, which you can never take away.
And I guess the stories you get to share, those are some of the things which AI will never take away. Like, because those are real life experiences and no machine can have that.
No machine can have that. Yeah. No machine can take that.
Interesting. Now, look, Africa is fast moving. Well, in some instances we're still behind, but in one sentence, like how would you describe Africa as a whole? Like in terms of, okay, let's not go to Africa, Zambia. Like in one sentence, how would you describe the work ethic? How would you describe the people in general?
I think Zambians are hard workers, very, very hard workers, and they are tamangas. Yes, maybe what we need is a little more structure, a little more support, especially like for small-scale entrepreneurs. There's a lot of support that is needed maybe from the authorities and government, but generally, most Zambians are serious hard workers. You go into town, apart from you being scared of thieves anyway, but you go into town, every 2 minutes, somebody's selling something to you. Yeah. From sweets to toothbrush to shoes.
Before you know it, you find yourself road.
Exactly.
Stuck in traffic. And somebody managed to sell. Like,
yeah. So I think that's a very, very important quality that Zambians have, which I think just needs to be supported, and it needs to be structured for us to be able to achieve the things that we want. You know, we are not that developed like other countries where you can simply sit on your phone and create an app and you become a millionaire. Yeah. For us, we have real everyday problems to sort out. We have water problems to sort out. We have hunger problems to sort out and the like. And I think we have the energy. And I think we are getting there, especially now with social media. We are able to work together with people who are not immediately with us next door. For instance, in some of the things that I do, I do ghostwriting, I do professional writing, and there are certain people that I work with I've never met. This is some guy in the corner of Wapula province, and he tells you, I'm a very good writer, I can help you write this. You try them out. You go like, okay, this guy can do the job. Why? Because taking advantage of social media. So generally, Zambians are actually very, very hard working. Probably the only thing that I can see that is missing in most small-scale entrepreneurs and most shops is issues of customer service. We can talk about that later, but I think there's a lot we need to do when it comes to customer service. Yeah.
So even as we come to a close, like, right now, the stage you were at, if you were to advise your younger self, like what advice would you give in order for you to elevate and move?
Two things I'll tell my younger self. One, start early. Yeah, I think I delayed to professionally claim my position in the industry. Okay. Yeah, mostly because, and that's the second thing I would say, believe in yourself. Mostly because I didn't believe in myself. I had this belief that the industry belongs to a certain group of people, a certain type of people, a certain cartel. You know, there are cartels in this industry. So because of that, I delayed to get into it. So what I would tell my younger self and what I would tell somebody out there who is right now 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, just start. Yeah. Make the mistake. Start wrongly, start badly, but just start. So that's the first advice. Because many times we delay. You know, Umubanga, it takes time to grow. Yeah. So the later you start, you delay your growth. Okay? You delay your growth. So just start and learn on the way. Make the mistakes, but learn on the way. And believe in yourself. Believe that you are called to do it. Believe that you belong in these spaces. Believe that you are part of them. There's no them and you. You are part of those people you call the big ones. Those who are doing it, you're part of them. Believe it and get into it. I think for me, that's one thing I should have done a long time ago, and it's costing me now because I got in a little bit late. I didn't believe in myself that much. By the time all that kicked in, it was a little bit late.
Interesting. So when people hear Mudson, Andu, like right now or years to come, what would you want to be like the biggest takeaway when they hear you speak or when they come into contact with your content or even meet you?
The one thing that I want people to take away, if you've seen most of my writing and if you were to attend most of my talk, the one thing that I want people to always take away is the eureka moment. You know, the eureka moment is the aha. I didn't see it like that. That's what I try to always bring out in my writing, in my talk, in my training, and the like. People already know these things.
Yeah.
People already understand these things. But all they need is somebody who comes out and says it in a way where they go like, oh, I never saw it like that. Mm-hmm. So I want people to remember me as the guy who reminded them of their potential, as the guy who awakened their sleeping potential, as a guy who came into their life and made them believe in themselves again and say, I can do it. And they're like, that's the reason I do all this, because I want you to be reminded that you are something, you can do it, you have the potential, you can get out there and the like, and I want to be remembered for that. And above that, I want to be remembered as, hey, the strategy guy.
Awesome. So write down like what are like some of the books like which you hold dear to you right now?
Books that I've read and I hold dear. Mm-hmm. Wow, very, very interesting. There's a book by Vishen. There's a guy called Vishen Lakiani. Mm-hmm. And if I get the title right, I think it's a book called The Code of an Extraordinary Mind, something like that. Why do I like this book? I like this book because he talks about breaking everyday beliefs. Yeah, most of us are blocked by everyday beliefs. And by everyday beliefs, I mean simple things like sayings we have believed for years, like, no, good things come to those who wait. And you live your life based on that, and you're waiting. Okay, like Yanni said, hey, break that. Good things don't come to those who wait. So that's one of the books. The other book that really changed my life, and I read it over and over again, is Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. Now, you may not get rich just by reading the book, but I can tell you the content in that book will change your life. And so internationally, those are the books, and they like locally. The book by Galamukani the late, We Don't Just Become. Yeah, that, just a statement, we don't, meaning if we don't just become, it means there's what we need to do in order to become. For me, that one is one masterpiece of a book. We don't just become.
So look, last one, I know we're supposed to close now. So your social media, I know sometimes gets lost in translation as you're about to, if you're relaying a point. I know the biggest one was the one where you questioned the church.
Ouch! I was wishing you're not gonna get there.
Where you questioned the church to say it's only in church where like somebody would just say, God said we should do this, and you can't question. But looking at that, and remember, you got a bashing.
Big bash.
Others were on your side. But how do you still get to a place where you are freely able to articulate your points? Because look, through that moment, somebody would just go in and say, look, you know what, let me just not
follow this guy at all. Yeah.
Or you yourself, actually, the content creator, be like, you know, let me just not be talking about this. Let me just focus on other things. But your content is, you ask the tough questions which nobody wants to ask, and you bring it in such a way that it's rattling more feathers.
You know, what you asked me initially about my personal philosophy. Maybe one thing that I didn't mention is I have this philosophy that you must not always seek for people to agree with you. Yeah, you need to have things where they don't agree, but you say it anyway. Yeah, and even in these other trainings that we do, for instance, we argue with people when I say a strategy is not a plan. Yeah. So there are people, big time guys, CEOs, that will say, no. And like I said, no, a strategy is not a plan. It's a big argument. So when it comes to such things, I believe somebody must say it. Yeah, somebody must say it, and this person who must say it in such a way that those who understand, for instance, what I have written over the years will not be surprised, because they are like, okay, this is not a jump off, just like he just wakes up and says this. Yeah. He's been saying these things and the like. So I understand. Yes. But then it's a very sensitive area to get into. That's why I don't do it on everyday basis. Yeah. You know, if you started an argument about going to space, very few people will be involved. Yeah, they'll be like, okay, what?
Been a space station.
Exactly. But if you started an argument about religion, hey, everybody's an expert now. Yeah. And that's why that bashing came in, especially when others like the church newspaper shared it. I was like, oh, these guys are putting me in trouble. But I think somebody has to say it, and somebody has to come out, and I still stand on that, because really, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, you cannot just wake up and say, and God told me, and then we need to follow you. And no, it's not. You can't do that. No, I still stand on that. I know I'm going to get in trouble if you're going to put this up and you won't edit out. I'm going to get in trouble. But you can't just say that, because really, then you can say anything. Yeah, because then you can dream anything and hallucinate anything and just come and say, God told me, and now we must listen to you. No, give us a case. Yeah, and the case may not be an actual research out there, but break it down from the Bible. Give us a case study. You get the point? From the Bible, and say, look at this, look at this, look at this. There's a pattern. Then look at where we are. Oh, okay. Not I dreamt. No, we are not listening to you. No. Yeah. We're not listening to that.
Awesome stuff. So look, others might be coming across you for the first time. So in terms of like the spaces where they can find you, like what are some of the spaces? Like, is it just strictly online, or there's even like some physical meetings which you get to host and also,
Yeah, so like I said, for now, I'm new in Lusaka. Just came into Lusaka in February, so still trying to set up a permanent place where you can say, okay, we are found at what? Yeah, for now we run around wherever there's something that needs to be done. Yeah, and but I'm available on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, and now I'm on TikTok, something that I really didn't want to do, but I had people push me there. My daughter, one of them saying, no, you need to get there. And then my wife also agreed and said, you have heard what I've been telling you. Yeah, so I'm also there, and they like, so really, and then we do a number of workshops. I think for Lusaka, we've just done one so far from the time we came, and we thought people would not come, but hey, we managed to sell out like a small place that we hired, and then more workshops and seminars are going to be coming.
Awesome. So one last sentence as we close, like what's one thing you'd want to give to somebody watching this? Like, yeah.
One last thing to somebody watching this. Maybe three things. One, believe in yourself. I can tell you, when you cross the confidence barrier, everything else is possible. The biggest barrier to peak performance is a confidence barrier. The moment you cross that, everything else is possible. Number two, I'd already mentioned that, start. Just start. Okay? Number three, don't just start anyhow. Have a strategy. It could be a bad strategy, but sit down and create a strategy. Because when you have a strategy, you are not scared of the market. No matter how congested it is, when you have a strategy, it will work for you. For instance, me, one of the things that has worked is my social media. Nobody writes like Mudson Andu. Nobody. There are people who are big and they like, but nobody writes like me. So if you want to read a certain quality, a certain way of writing, you come to my page, you'll be like, okay, this is different. I've never seen this, and it has worked for me. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much for honoring the invitation and coming through. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Umubanga. This has been a great opportunity, and you're doing a great job. Yeah, I've watched a number of your programs, I think from the second time we met, because I think we met at a studio somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, you were just finishing off a podcast. Then I was like, okay, let me go and check it out. Yeah, that's how I knew you're doing this, and I followed it, and you're doing great work. I think this is good direction. And thank you so much for bringing me here.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you've been informed, transformed, as well as inspired. So make sure you get to follow Mudson Andu on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Pretty much just check all social media platforms. And then he's got an exciting program called Mud Talks. So yeah, watch those videos and just be inspired. So from me, Dennis Umubangamemed, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We say bye-bye.